Unfortunately, today we've had to file a lawsuit against BP, meaning his agent, Mr. Feinberg, in this claims facility that BP has set up. We've been trying for months. I served a civil investigative demand on Mr. Feinberg on February 18th of this year. What that is an administrative subpoena issued by the Attorney General pursuant to our consumer protection statutes in an attempt to get him to provide some transparency. Many of you in the media have written and commented on the fact that there's very little transparency in this process. You know, Mr. Feinberg, I'm sure, will defend this saying, oh, we paid all this number of claims. Well, you know, statistics, you know what they say about statistics. Well, you know, anybody can play with statistics. But he doesn't ever tell how much people actually made of their claims. He may tell how much they paid. So what we did is we went down to the coast and we had those town hall meetings to try to get an idea of what people were experiencing. And we got over 100 people gave us releases to serve Mr. Feinberg with, to make him provide us with a copy of their file, complete copy of their file. So that was separate from our subpoena, our civil investigator demand. That was a separate process. But we went to Washington, our people went up there and met with his office in an attempt, once again, to try to have them provide us with the full file. Well, they didn't. And that's the problem. You know, they won't give us, you know, how they arrived at these figures. You know, they'll have reached some numbers, but they won't provide you with the notes. Much less will they provide you with the claims manuals as to how they actually operate. You know, they've got skits for their people that they give them to read when you call down to one of the claims offices. They won't provide us with that kind of information. So we've got two methods we tried to work with Mr. Feinberg. One where people gave us a written document saying the Attorney General can have full access to our claims file. When we got there, we realized they didn't give us very little of the information that people said, you know, we can have their entire file. Also, our civil investigative demand was covered all the documentation that we need to determine if he is being fair and transparent in this claims process. We have worked with him everywhere in the world. We've got dozens of letters back and forth where we've given him an opportunity to comply with the civil investigative demand. He's not done so. You know, all they've done is delay, deny, and obfuscate. They've tried to do much like the insurance companies did after Katrina. You know, delay, delay, delay. We hope you go away. That's the same MO. And so I suppose they've hired some of those devious lawyers that the insurance industry had out there committing some of the same tactics and methods to try to delay and act like they were going to work with us. Mr. Feinberg has given assurances time and again, even in documentation where he promised to give us these things, but we have letters from him saying he's going to give them to us. We've had meetings with other attorneys general where he has made the promise. You know, before 5 attorneys general in one meeting to provide us access to this documentation, and he's failed to do so. So it's made us have to resort to filing a lawsuit to try to compel Mr. Feinberg to provide the state of Mississippi with the documentation that we requested under this civil investigative demand, which is the same thing as administrative subpoena. We have filed it today here in Chancery Court of Hinds County. We are trying to, we're asking the court to compel Mr. Feinberg to provide us with the documentation that we requested. You know, I've actually tried hard for some middle ground. You know, give us 500 files, even in some of the letters we've sent him. You know, asking him to give us 500 files of complete access, so that we can go in and actually monitor and see if he's actually what documentation he has. You know, whether or not he treated people fairly in the claims process, whether he just wholesale denied claims, which they have done. You know, during the emergency claims process in December, they just completely wholesale cut off 2/3 of those who had filed emergency claims without any type of consideration of the validity of their claims. You know, now we see what BP's doing. They're trying to even stop Feinberg from continuing to pay future claims. That was just something that was filed by BP just this week. Well, make no mistake about it, Mr. Feinberg is BP. You know, there's been an attempt to say that the administration somehow appointed him. They did not. Mr. Feinberg is a BP employee, and all he has done on behalf of BP is to come down on our coast and tell us all these good things he was going to do, and he's not complied. He hadn't done it. You go talk to people who have filed claims in the process, the vast majority of them are they don't even know why their claims were denied. And those that got paid, they talked to their neighbors, they got paid something different. There's a huge problem with the inequality between the same type claims. So, there's a lot of room for correction in this process. But the problem, I've kept asking time again, and even the media have asked, if he doesn't have anything to hide, why doesn't he open it up to some independent monitor to come in and monitor the claims process and decide whether or not he's acted fairly? Now, he kept saying he was independent, and all that until the federal judge finally ordered him to stop that because he was misrepresenting who he worked for. He worked for BP. And I suspect, he's going to tell the media that, oh, well, we've paid all these claims, everybody must be satisfied. Well, that has worked apparently through his connections with the New York Times somehow. They bought into it, but most of the media have not. And so I have unfortunately had to resort to filing litigation to compel him to comply with our administrative civil investigative demand.